was like letting the tool do the merge and do the work for us. So it didn't, even though it was a big shift and we had to get our data ready to do that, it wasn't too jarring.
Welcome to the EverTrue Innovators podcast, where we meet the innovative voices behind the ideas moving fundraising forward.
Hello, and welcome to the EverTrue Innovators podcast. And also a hello to my co-hosts, Hannah Davis and Keith Maneri. Keith, I know you'll feel strongly about this statement. Design matters.
Even for reports?
Especially for reports.
CSU Chico went from spreadsheets and manual reporting
to something donors actually want to read.
Let's talk about how CSU Chico, winners of the Endowment Reporting Champion Award, transformed endowment reporting into a more polished, data-rich experience that strengthened donor trust and engagement. Congratulations again on being one of our innovators for 2026. We would love if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at CSU Chico.
Yeah, definitely. Happy to be here. I love working with you guys and helping continue the conversation about the products and the great things coming down the line. So my name is Jessica Booth. I am the Donor Relations and Stewardship Director at California State University, Chico. I've been here about 5 years in this role and came from a direct fundraising background. So frontline fundraising for other nonprofits locally and some national nonprofits, but higher education is really kind of where I have found my home and love it.
Amazing. Well, thank you for, again, joining us and sharing this story. So can you kind of take us back to what endowment reporting looked like before you were using Impact and kind of what challenges you were running into and what pushed you to kind of think about a different approach?
Yeah, we were really struggling with a manual process previously. So taking all of the financial data from our finance department and accounting and merging that together with the constituent data on our side and doing all of that through manual matching, mail merge, and grouping things and doing mail merges separately for certain categories, and then printing and hand collating and hand stuffing. It kind of involved our whole advancement services team when it came time to finally three-way match, reports and cover letters and envelopes, and get things sorted and folded and stuffed and sent out. We often teased that it was harvest for our department, right? Advancement services spends all year making sure that the data is clean and the information is right. And then we would have this big, I don't want to say party because it wasn't a lot of fun, but it was definitely a party atmosphere.
Yeah.
When the whole team came together and kind of had to push through for, nearly a month of getting things collated and out to our constituents. So very manual, labor intensive, anxiety inducing manual.
Yeah, sounds it.
And
Maybe
lots
not
of
a party, but a
opportunity.
gathering. Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of an ongoing punishment. I don't
Yeah. So once you implemented, balance and impact, what were the things that changed most in the day-to-day for your team? And how did that kind of change your workflow, collaboration, and your overall then donor experience on the other side of that?
Yeah, I think there has definitely been a change in workflow. I would say day to day, it just has made it feel like more of a partnership between my office and the finance team, because I don't have to put in a request for information for every question.
Mhm.
Through the balance product, there's lots of fund management that I can do, and I'm empowered as an equal administrator with our finance team to get in and tweak things, look at things, forecast what the distributions are going to be, which is a great conversation point with our donors, and just the access to information without relying on somebody else that also already has a heavy workload, not just with what the endowment functions, but other things that they're doing. So access to information, the speed and agility to be able to get in and do fund management. And then likewise, at the end of the year when we're reporting, there's just complete confidence in the data that's available. we know at a certain point, we kind of sign off with finance like, okay, yes, we're ready to report. Go ahead and hit the button and input all the data over, and it's good to go. And it almost becomes kind of a seamless task in the year, as opposed to what it used to be was this big monstrous thing.
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of like, okay, this is what we do this time of year, and here's the data, and we can just go.
Yeah.
And reporting itself is really just a two-man job at this point. I do all of well, with you all, with your help, with the help of your team, getting ready to produce reports and get those files print ready and over to our print shop. And then we have not implemented the email function, so we are still touching each report manually before they go out in the mail. But that also gives us the opportunity for some personalization still. So I'm still putting in some personal notes as I see names come across my desk and that sort of thing, which is our style and helps with stewardship too. But yeah, much myself and even a student employee or an assistant can get through the whole reporting process with just the two of us.
That's amazing. Less of a party, but more of a celebration.
Yes.
I guess.
And the whole team knows how much of a lift it is. So we do actually celebrate when they're done, because everyone's kind of surprised that it's over and it
Good. Yes. Yes. We need those moments throughout the year. Now that you've gone through multiple reporting cycles, how has your reporting evolved over time in terms of like the design and presentation, and what does a report look like today compared to maybe what it looked like earlier, for the more manual versions? I know some of it's still being sent out and having that personalization, but kind of can you talk through the evolution of your reports over time?
Sure. They were very static before, really just financial focused. We had the opportunity with our cover letter to put in some bullet points about overall endowment performance and the institution and some key factoids, what was happening institutionally, but we were really careful that those were pretty general bullet points that any donor with any endowment that funded anything on campus could kind of relate to. So just that one opportunity for a few bullet points, no photos, no graphics. We maybe had a table or a pie chart, something like that in the cover letter, and then straight to the fund financials page. So pretty boring, honestly, not very visually appealing. And I didn't think so at the time, but once we implemented the EverTrue reporting, it's just such a more sophisticated style, even on the fund performance pages. The way that the data is laid out just has a better look and feel to it, more sophisticated. So between that and then the ability, as we implemented EverTrue, or Impact, we started small, just did kind of the cover page and a cover letter again, and then the reporting and a glossary. But over the cycles, we've been able to add other pages, which is my favorite. One of my favorite parts about the product is being able to just click on a button and add a new page, and then you're able to insert either a ton of photos and make it really rich content, or another data page or statistics, and really add that storytelling element to the reporting, which is amazing. And again, not dependent on another department like our communications team to put together graphics or anything like that. Is something we can build straight in the template, which I really like. And then looking forward, I think we'll just continue to refine that by adding different pages and maybe even customizing per college or per set of endowments, what sort of information we're giving out with their financials, so that it becomes a really personalized report, but still stays sophisticated and has a uniform look and feel.
That is nice to be able to have that, when you are doing reporting like this. I think people expect it to feel generic, but your ability to have a more personalized outreach with it is really, I think, I'm sure it makes it stand out to the donors as well. Which leads into one of the things that you shared about a learning that you had, about a donor noticing that the photo in their report didn't necessarily reflect their specific program. And so I feel like anytime that you, I, whoever receives feedback from a donor, it's always very, I don't know, there's a lot you can learn from it, obviously. So what did that moment tell you about donor expectations or personalization or how these reports were actually being received on the other end by the donors?
Well, yeah, it kind of gives you that satisfaction that like there's that old saying that nobody loves a document other than the person who produces it, or the design, someone that produces it. But it was a reminder that there are real people, like donors are on the back end, they are receiving it, and they are
Mm,
actively digesting the information that you're sending them. So, um, I think we kind of set ourselves up for that phone call, but it was a good reminder that they've noticed
hmm.
the change and the opportunity to provide more information. And like I said, that richer photo content or more of the stats. And so this particular year we had backed off on a page or two just because we were a little more short staffed.
Hmm.
I think that's what his call really was like, whoa, I had gotten this other one. And then this year it was a little different. So what's going on?
Hmm.
But again, an opportunity to provide a point of engagement with the donor.
Yeah,
So it was a great conversation and an ability to kind of broaden his understanding of just how big our endowment program is, and
yeah,
that they're not all scholarships, and that they can't, that we have a big animal to kind of wrangle, and he
yeah,
understood that. And I think was also then excited to be a part of something bigger than he realized he was.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm of the approach of all feedback is good feedback when it's about something that you're trying to get people to engage with. Like he clearly showed that he was excited to receive this in the past, that he is noticing
Mhm.
everything. So I feel like that's a really good anecdote to just have, in your back pocket of people are there, they're caring and then yeah, it provides that additional engagement point, which I think is really great.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, it kind of helps me justify if I need to go to leadership and spend a little bit more money to do a second run or get some staffing so that we really could do some more segmentation and make it personal. It's just one more validation that that would be
Yeah.
well received by
Yeah,
our donor segments. And
totally.
yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I guess kind of we're coming up on our last question, which is crazy, but also great because I can give you some time back from what I'm sure is a very, very busy week. But for teams that are thinking about implementing something like this or switching up a process, what would be your advice for based on your experience, whether that's around data or the rollout or personalization? What are kind of your top takeaways that you would give to others that are thinking about something like this?
Hmm. Well, probably this isn't a surprise to this audience in particular, but I think data is the foundation, right? So just making sure that everything is clean and you know which donors are connected to which funds, and what you're reporting is going to, who needs to get what. I think that's critical. That was a really important piece of our rolling into both balance and impact. Um, and then in terms of implementation, I think just starting small from a reporting standpoint, you easily really could, if you're at a point like we were, where we were just doing a cover letter and the financials page, you could start that small, which is what we did. Just took a baby bite. And instead of doing mail merge on our own computers, it was like letting the tool do the merge and do the work for us. So it didn't, even though it was a big shift and we had to get our data ready to do that, it wasn't too jarring because you could still
Mm-hmm.
kind of wrap your head around like, okay, this is the same process we've been just doing. We're just using a more powerful tool now. And then once that first cycle and we kind of wrapped our head around that and developed our own trust in the product, then it was easy to start turning on pages and getting more data and realizing like how much more robust the storytelling could be.
Mm.
So I think just starting small to understand how it works and how things link together was key for us. And then adding to it from there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like you've laid a really good blueprint for showing what's possible when you do just that too. So congratulations on that. Congratulations on streamlining a process that would normally take a month and you were dreading to then now. not feel it's still a lot of it's still work and dedication that gets put into it, but um not the same. But I worked in annual giving, and I remember always stuffing envelopes every year with just all of the things. And so it's not exactly the same, but similar in just that process. I remember like sitting in the boardroom and having like all of the things laid out. And then if one person got off with one thing, it just turned to this whole chaotic moment. So I can empathize in a way of what that side of things felt like. It is daunting. So
Right. And there was also not only that, you're like the task itself is daunting, but as soon as you sort of put it out into the universe, there was this like sense of, oh God, okay, now the phone calls are going to start,
yeah,
and kind of dreading like the result of all of that
right.
work. And that has also been eliminated too. I think
Yeah,
just there's so much more trust in the information purely just based on the way that it looks, that
yeah,
the donors really feel that sophistication in design and like the polished professional look of the reports. And there's less doubt on, not that the data wasn't accurate before, it just wasn't presented
yeah.
quite as professionally. So
It does make a difference. Just I'm thinking of even things that like I receive of emails or any mailing, depending on how everything's presented to you, it does make it feel more legitimate, I think.
yeah.
So that's great that it can cut down on that kind of anxiety after the fact too for you all as well. So
Right. And if the phone does ring, that comes back around to having the access, like I know right where to go to get the answers or
yeah,
to kind of explain what's happening. If somebody digs a little deeper and has a deep question about the data, then I don't have to wait for finance to call me back and a
right.
third party explanation, so it's all
Yeah,
just right there in front of me and I can get to it right away. So
yeah. Better experience for you and for the donor of just having that access so
yeah,
easily.
yeah, 100%.
Well, thank you and congratulations again. And thank you for taking the time to share all of these insights with us. I'm excited for everyone to hear this story. And I know that I hope and know that it will spark some inspiration for other folks, especially heading into reporting season. I'm sure this will be an episode people will really tune into. So
I hope so. Thank you.